Now, a judge at the Old Bailey has sentenced Harbi Ali to a whole life prison term for murdering the Conservative MP Sir David Amess. Describing it as a murder trial which struck at the heart of democracy, Judge Nigel Sweeney said the 26-year-old Islamic State group sympathiser had shown no remorse. Outside the court, a police officer read a statement on behalf of Lady Amess and other members of Sir David's family. Well, joining us now is our correspondent Andrew Plant, who was at the sentencing. Andrew, what more did the judge have to say?
Yeah, Sean, this happened here at the Old Bailey just after midday today. Harbi Ali given that whole life sentence. And that means exactly as it sounds, of course. He will never be eligible for parole and he will spend the rest of his life in prison. During sentencing, the judge commended David Amess's family for their bravery throughout this process, and he said that Ali had shown a cowardly refusal to face up to his guilt and shown absolutely no remorse for his actions whatsoever. Now, during his trial here at the Old Bailey, we learnt quite a lot more details about what happened that day, October the 15th last year. We now know he essentially tricked his way into that meeting with Sir David in his constituency. He was holding constituency meetings in a church in Leigh-on-Sea. Ali said that he was an NHS worker. He pretended that he was interested in moving to the area and that he wanted to discuss local issues. But in fact, he had been planning his crime for a long time. He took a knife with him to that meeting and stabbed Sir David more than 20 times. We also know that part of that plan was to die himself that day. He wanted to be shot by armed police, but in fact the two police officers first on the scene were armed only with batons and an incapacitant spray. They managed to overpower him and arrest him. Now, we've heard from police during this trial that he was, as they described it, self-radicalised back in 2014. He had been a student. He was at university studying a medical degree, but he dropped out in 2014, started looking at a lot of Islamic State material online and began to plan a trip to Syria, but he decided that was too difficult and he was going instead, he said in his own words, to help Muslims in this country. Well, after the sentencing here today at the Old Bailey, the police made a statement just outside.
It's clear that the man who begins a life sentence today is a cold, calculated and dangerous individual. His attack was stopped by two Essex police constables who apprehended this dangerous man whilst he was still armed with a knife he had used to kill Sir David. Their actions were nothing short of heroic, and they undoubtedly prevented others from being harmed. Their bravery, and the bravery of the members of the public who witnessed the incident, called 999 and provided invaluable information to the police, was remarkable.
And Sir David wasn't his only target. In fact, he'd researched more than a dozen politicians online, including Sir Keir Starmer and Michael Gove. He'd made reconnaissance trips to people's houses. He'd even been down to the Houses of Parliament on several occasions, but decided not to launch an attack there because he said it was too well guarded. The judge added today that Sir David had dedicated his life to public service. His loss, he said, was of national significance, and this was a murder, he said, that struck at the heart of our democracy. Sir David's family, in a statement that was read out on their behalf, said it breaks our heart to know that our husband and father would have greeted his murderer with a smile of friendship. Sean.
Andrew Plant at the Old Bailey, thank you very much.